Hello and welcome to Zarnok Gaming. Today we are going to be doing a short, quick Tacticus for beginners video, and we're just going to talk about some of the things that I see asked most commonly on the official Discord, and we're going to just get some of this information out here. One of the first things I hear people say is, what is it worth to buy? I think if you're brand new to the game and you have the Yark purchase up to get Yark, he is absolutely one of the best heroes in the game. He's absolutely fantastic and definitely worth investing in if you've got $5 to spend on the game. He's a summoner. He summons some really powerful Cadian Guardsmen and can get 4 units on turn 1. He's also both a melee and a ranged attack hero. So he's got some options, and he's also got the resilient trait, which makes it so that he stays alive at 1 health. What to buy after that? I always tell people that you should be using your gems on requisition orders and temples until you feel like you've gotten most of your desirable meta heroes out of the pool. And then after that, you're probably spending some money here and there on tomes, maybe some badges, maybe some coins, whatever you need, and maybe some equipment, some gear, whatever you need to get your heroes to the point where they are wearing the items you want and you're getting your skill levels to where you want your skill levels to be. So, better get my Yark level. 34, we're short one here. So after that, one of the most common things I hear people talking about is that they are struggling with getting some of the quests done. We have a lot of quests that we get hit with, giving us a lot to do, which is super awesome, including some timed quests, both from the Trial of Faith, as well as every time you beat a chapter boss in the campaign, you get a timed quest. And this is a very important thing to remember. So you get 24 hours for them, and they give you a requisition order, which means that that's something you want to prepare for going in. If you're just barely able to be a chapter boss, like, Thutmose is really giving you a hard time, well, you should know that when you beat Thutmose, you're going to get a quest that requires you to either spend energy moving on in the campaign or backing up and replaying some of these levels. So mentally prepare yourself for that. Make sure you're at a good point to probably move on and keep spending your energy wisely before you beat any chapter bosses. Another thing I hear people talking about often is not understanding rating. So rating, you go back to a level you have already beaten, and you can then hit this raid button. So one of the most earliest questions I hear asked is like, hey, how do I complete the daily mission? I have to raid 2 times, but every time I go into the campaign and I do it, I'm not getting anything for it. I'm not getting any credit for my quest completion. So if you're using the manual battle button instead of the raid ticket button, then that is the problem that you're running into there. Down here on every hero, you have all of your attacks. And your attacks also actually have a little scale on the left side of the circle where you are going to be able to see how far the pierce ratio is. You can see here on these psychic attacks, they have 100% pierce rate, meaning they're not blocked by armor at all. And you can see that as opposed to this power right here, which only has 40% pierce, or this bolter, which only has 20%. And you can see on the left side of their images how they have a less full meter on their pierce. To the right of that, you see how many hits they get. So you're getting 220 damage per hit, but the hit has to go through armor. But 20% of your damage is going to clear armor no matter what on bolter. So let's pretend this is a clean 200 for the sake of mathematical simplicity. On a bolter attack, 20% of this damage of 200 would be 40. and you get 40% guaranteed to do damage to the target. And then the rest of it has to go through armor. So if you did 40 out of 200, you have 160 left. Well, if they have 111 armor, then 160 means that another 49 is going to go through that armor. And that's on each hit. So then you do that twice. You get your 49 plus your 40, which is your 89, and that's going to be 178, and that's going to be your damage plus or minus 20%. Yes, this game has dice rolls. So, and then that's not even talking about the percentage crit that you see at the bottom and how much crit damage you can get and all that. Now, if you go and switch to the power attack, we're getting 40%. So 40% is going to be 80 out of 200 damage. And then there's only 120 damage less. That means that only 9 is going to pierce through. So it's going to be 89 damage, but you get 3 hits. So this time, instead of doing 178, you're going to do literally 1.5 times the damage. Yerrick is actually a very triangular unit in this way because his hits are exactly 50% more at melee than at ranged. He actually does the exact same damage from elevation at range as he does from melee not elevated. So if you're in a boss fight or you're trying to one-shot an enemy and you're trying to think, it says I do the exact same amount of damage whether I'm looking from elevation or from melee, that's because that elevation gives you 50% more damage on each hit, while his other attack gives him 50% more hits. So some very interesting mechanics there. But these damage types are mentioned a lot in our quests. We need to do flame damage. You know, none of my other quests are doing justice for that. But early on, you see a lot of quests going on. Another thing I see asked a lot is answers about the salvage run and if it works like the onslaught does. So we see an onslaught that the Imperial gives chaos badges, the chaos gives Xenos badges, and the Xenos is giving the Imperial badges. So there's a triangle here. The triangle is exactly works just like that in Salvage Run, but it actually moves in the opposite direction. So you can always go and check your onslaught. The Imperial gives chaos. That means that in the Salvage Run, the Imperial is going to give Xenos. And we can actually go into a Salvage Run now because I just got a ticket back and take a look at what that means. So in this Salvage Run, we have some orc enemies. We're going to pop some summons off. And your summons will always go on sepals, but they won't attack things that explode or things that you get punished for overkilling. And that's a very important statement that I just made that we're going to talk about here in a second. If we get an ammo box, right in this tile right here, we just saw a guy that per hit drops coins on the floor for you, and he is a 2-man squad. He has a swarm effect, so you actually want to hit him with 1-hit units, such as Vigo Tigurius's physical damage. That way, you are guaranteed not to take both out, and you can get more coins from him. Now, here we have an Imperial crate, and we can see the Imperial crate drops common to rare, equipable by at least one Xenos faction. Now, for the record, that means it could drop an item that is equipped by Necrons and Ultramarines, or a crit booster that is equipable by Black Legion and Necrons, or it could drop some Orc gear, who no other factions in the game use. But here's your perfect image. I'm actually going to take a screenshot of this for reference because I get this question a lot on the official Discord. There's where you see us getting our different, and so you got these traits here, and everything you click has traits, and all of these traits matter, like Vindicta's Act of Faith, saying that every time her crit damage and crit chance increases when a friendly Imperial unit defeats another enemy unit or is defeated. So you can actually see that I'm saying a 182% crit chance for plus 177 damage. And this is because I haven't used her to attack at all. Once I do, it just went up after defeating that. Once I use her to attack, I will reset because I will get her crit off. Now, this matters a lot for salvage run because every salvage run gets a strong box that is impervious. It has to be crit. So the Imperial salvage run is one of the easiest salvage runs to guarantee completion on because you can always crit with a with Vindictor or one of the other Sisters of Faith. So now we didn't get any ammo boxes this run, but the ammo boxes have a very interesting trait, which is that if they are overkilled, you don't get any loot from them. So here is our one Xenos faction Necron crit booster item. So I'm going to say that one more time because that was super important. The ammo boxes in Salvage Run, if you overkill them, you don't get any loot from them. And so it is very important to be aware of this and not to attack them with too much damage and not overkill them. If we're looking for a definition of overkill, overkill negates most effects triggered by a unit's defeat. Well, that's not a definition of overkill. An overkill is when you do in one hit, not one attack, but in one hit, you, in your final hit of damage, do more than double the remaining life of whatever you're attacking. Then you get overkilled. So this means that certain units are very unlikely to overkill. You'll notice I brought Tigurius because he has a one hit, 1% pierce physical melee attack. And then on top of having a good range, we have a 15 or a 10% laser one hit from Thaddeus. So he gives me the options of both attacking at a range as well as attacking in melee and making sure I don't overkill ammo boxes. Bellator, while having 6 hits, hits for pretty low damage per hit, saying at only 40 and only 20% pierce. So these are just some basics that I think it's really important to look at, especially understanding the basics of Salvage Run. And I don't know if I have anything else for this video. I would love to maybe add some more supplements to this video, a beginner's guide part 2. So if you guys see this and you have some questions you want me to answer, or maybe some things that confused you when you were a new player, of course, the number one thing I'm going to tell you is to get on the Discord. If you somehow found my video and you are not on the Discord, and the Discord right here, you got this nice button. The Discord is where you want to be. We have over 7,000 people all talking constantly, sharing what's going on in their game and sharing advice and sharing content creation and walkthroughs. So I hope this has been helpful, and happy hunting out there.